Chapter 934. Qianxi City was in ruins. Lan Yao swept up all the spirits and fled into the distance, not daring to stay any longer. The space within a 1,000-mile radius was shattered by the serpent and could not be hidden. The god-slaying path was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Yi Qinghan was like the god of death, rampaging through the crowd. His iron fists smashed Lord God weapons, causing despair. With a sweep of his leg, even powerful lords were severely injured, let alone the half-step lords. A large number of powerhouses became meat in the serpent's mouth, becoming one with the serpent. The dark god king was furious, but he knew that he was no match for the serpent. Moreover, there was also Yi Qinghan, who was like a madman. He wanted to escape, but his hatred for Yi Qinghan was unbearable. With a flash of cold light, the nine-dragon sword emitted a 10-colored divine light. The minor divine power, dragon-slaying style. The sword whistled like lightning. The nine-dragon sword produced thousands of sword gleams that spun at high speed in the air. The void seemed to have solidified as it cracked continuously. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end. It was the first time he felt a destructive force on his divine body. His dragon blood boiled as he roared. He swept his spear and instantly suppressed hundreds of sword gleams. However, there were too many sword gleams. No matter how hard he tried, he could not evade all of them. Boom! Yi Qinghan activated his 13 godheads. His divine power poured out, and his aura shot out thousands of miles. His aura clashed with the sword gleams, and the sword gleams and divine power intertwined. The collapse of space became even more terrifying. Thud, thud, thud. Yi Qinghan stomped on the ground and retreated continuously. There was a serious look in his eyes. The Dark God King did not expect Yi Qinghan's ability to be so powerful. The corner of his mouth twitched as he looked at the serpent massacring his god-slaying path members. He roared, "Yi Qinghan, you'll die with him. Sky-slicing divine power. Destroy the space-time before me." A beam of dazzling white light cut open the chaos. It was as if the chaos had just been created, and all order was being destroyed and reassembled. That beam of sword light had the ability to destroy souls. Even Yi Qinghan, who had a physical body that had become a saint, was unable to stop the destruction of the sword chi. Time reversal. Yi Qinghan rose into the sky and thrust out his spear. Time and space in front of him flowed backward, and the nebula was swept up. However, his opponent's heaven-severing divine ability was too terrifying. Even the domain could not withstand his attack. He had completely destroyed his defense with his strongest attack. This is a chaos divine ability, the serpent python warned. Yi Qinghan wanted to retreat, but his opponent was too fast. He was so fast that he couldn't escape his attack range even if he used all his strength. Dark God King was entangled with him, so Serpent God Dragon couldn't attack. Otherwise, he would be killed as well. Boom! Boom! The spear of time was bent from the impact, continuously deflecting the sword radiance. His wrist cracked, blood spurting out. Mystical mystery of strength, protect. Yi Qinghan exploded. He used all his strength and god power. Victory or defeat would be decided in this one move. The spear of time was waved in an arc. The friction caused the sky to burn. He was using the strongest attack to counterattack the sky-slicing divine ability. Boom! A stream of air rushed into the 9 heavens, shattering all living creatures within 100 miles. The experts of the god-killing path were also turned into a bloody mist. The serpent python did not hesitate to swallow them. The escaping experts were lifted up by the stream of air. They lost control and were instantly annihilated. Yi Qinghan's body was also sent flying. He slammed into the ground, creating a deep trench. The Dark God King was also in a sorry state. He didn't expect that a junior like Yi Qinghan, a newly promoted main god, could block a chaos divine ability and fly hundreds of miles away. He knew that Yi Qinghan had no defensive ability, but he didn't dare to kill Yi Qinghan. He didn't have much battle power left. If he got close to Yi Qinghan, the serpent python's tail would crush him. Yi Qinghan, you and I are irreconcilable. The dark god king left behind a vicious sentence and rushed into the void. What? The serpent python wasn't going to let him escape. Its body flashed and its tail swung, causing heaven and earth to shake. It stopped him outside Qinshi City and smashed him into the ground. The dark god king screamed. His body was smashed into a bloody mist. Before he could struggle, the serpent python swallowed him. This main god is still worth watching. The serpent could feel its life force rapidly recovering as a terrifying blood-chi energy rippled through its body. It could not help but growl. A peerless master god of a generation had lost his brilliance after clashing head-on with Yi Qinghan. Then he encountered the most terrifying chaos god, the serpent, and died. In an instant, the sky darkened and the earth darkened. White lightning flashed continuously in the void, as if divine punishment had descended. The dark god king had the godhead of a chaos god. The fall of such a giant god was mourned by heaven and earth. Even if it didn't resonate with the chaos universe, it was enough to cause the small Daos in this region to tremble. The serpent python opened its mouth and shot out a golden godhead. It was the dark god king's godhead. There were a total of over 3,000 chaos god lattices. If one was lost, one would be lost. Unless someone was recognized by the small Daos by chance, this godhead would disappear completely. The serpent python understood that this action was against the heavenly Tao. It didn't destroy the godhead and threw it to Yi Qinghan instead. Yi Qinghan crawled up from the ground pathetically. His face was pale. Only now did he understand how terrifying the Chaos Era's divine arts were. Kid, consider yourself lucky. If this guy's godhead was a little stronger, he would have executed the heaven-slicing divine art. Your soul spirit would have been exposed and you would have been killed instantly. The serpent python snorted. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. This is the first time I encountered such a Chaos Era's divine art. I didn't have time to escape. Yi Qinghan smiled embarrassedly. He wasn't going to suffer because of his pride. If he could win, he could win. If he couldn't win, he would just be waiting for death. In the future, if you encounter experts with the Chaos Giant God's godhead and they know the Giant God's grand divine art, run. There are a total of 3,600 Giant God's grand divine art. There are countless lesser grand divine arts. They are all quite powerful. You still have a lot to learn. The serpent python twisted its body. The godhead's godhead flowed backward and surged into its body. Yi Qinghan's pupils contracted. He felt that he was going to rush into the serpent python's body. He couldn't help but run far away from the serpent python. After a long time, Yi Qinghan turned to look at the serpent python. He realized that its body was constantly twisting and changing. It seemed to be transforming. With the serpent python's strength back then, it was impossible for it not to transform. It was just that it didn't have much strength left and couldn't transform. Now that it had recovered 30% of its strength, it should be enough for it to transform. After a long time, the serpent python turned into a 3-meter-tall man. Its skin was dark and its eyes were cold. It gave Yi Qinghan a feeling that he couldn't resist. I haven't felt this in a long time, the serpent python whispered. Its eyes stared at Yi Qinghan. Its stare made his hair stand. Yi Qinghan had the thought of running away. If he stood next to such a monster, he could be swallowed at any time. Senior, don't you want to go back to the divine demon region first? Maybe you can recover your strength in advance. Then we can work together to destroy the two camps. What do you think? Yi Qinghan wanted to divert the serpent python's attention. If the serpent python wanted to kill him, he wouldn't even have the chance to run. The 13 godheads were empty. There was no godhead left. Chapter 9:35. The anaconda serpent kept staring at Yi Qinghan. It did not know what the anaconda serpent was trying to do, which made its hair stand on end. It hurriedly took out a chaos god source and absorbed a portion of the chaotic energy. However, its strength was still less than 1,000th of its previous strength. I'm curious. Why do you keep fighting in your human form? The anaconda serpent asked with a frown. Yi Qinghan smiled sheepishly. He did not dare say that he was a human and not a true dragon. I'm refining my physical body. Senior, you don't have to worry. Moreover, my cultivation partner is the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon. She's a human. Yi Qinghan whispered as he peeked at the anaconda serpent's reaction. As expected, the anaconda serpent was shocked. Its aura changed as it said coldly, "What did you say? The great Chaos Dragon's inheritor is a human? Wise, but she listens to me. Senior, don't worry. She's not on good terms with the two camps," Yi Qinghan quickly explained. The anaconda serpent's killing intent disappeared in a flash. It did not say anything else. It flicked its finger and a beam of divine light shot into Yi Qinghan's body. Yi Qinghan wanted to resist, but he could not. He allowed the aura to enter his body. His expression changed immediately. "Don't worry. This is just a wisp of the origin that can help me find you at any time. I'll return to the divine demon territory for a while. I'll look for you after I recover my strength and explore this era. Don't try to hide, or I'll crush you," the anaconda serpent warned coldly. Yi Qinghan's body tensed up. He did not expect the anaconda serpent to be so intelligent that he could not escape even if he wanted to. The anaconda serpent moved. The space distorted and it disappeared immediately. Yi Qinghan shuddered. He devoured the Chaos God Source's power wildly. After recovering half of his strength, he charged into the void to look for Blue Demon. Soon, Blue Demon had fled tens of thousands of kilometers away with a large group of living beings. They hid in a valley, trembling in fear. Yi Qinghan looked at the countless living beings with a grim expression. He asked coldly, "Do you know anything about the insane sect?" Everyone shook their heads. Even the half-step lords did not know the location of the endless star system, nor did they have any information about the insane sect. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and said to Blue Yao, "Let's go. The serpent has gone to the celestial demon region. We'll go there at different times. I have to find the insane sect first." Blue Demon nodded. If Yi Qinghan wanted to avenge him, he would definitely be able to do it. A master god like him would definitely be able to kill everyone. However, the serpent could not be resisted by brute force. Running in front of it would be equivalent to suicide. Yi Qinghan and Blue Demon sped through the plains at top speed, heading straight for the center of the Dragon Rising domain. They wanted to find out more about the insane sect. The endless solar system was too small, so small that it was almost negligible. The insane sect had Emperor Yi and many other experts. There was a large ancient city near the center of the Dragon Rising domain. It was majestic and filled with the aura of the Great Path. However, it was very vigilant at the moment. The defensive formation had been activated. Perhaps the battle earlier had alerted this place. Yi Qinghan and Blue Demon came together. Since they were both lords, no one dared to stop them. They stepped into the city directly. After asking the guards of the city, they found out that the most powerful organization in the city was the Divine Energy Sect. They entered the Tao through Qi and were quite powerful. Although they were not as powerful as the Killer God Sect, they were still a top-notch organization. Yi Qinghan and Blue Demon headed straight for the Divine Energy Sect. If they wanted to find out more useful information, they would have to go to such a powerful sect. On the Divine Mountain, celestial mist lingered. Colorful waterfalls intertwined, and thousands of palaces surrounded the mountain. There were surging airflows all around. Anyone who approached the airflows would alert the Divine Energy Sect. Yi Qinghan and Blue Demon landed at the foot of the mountain and headed straight for the Divine Mountain, alerting the heroes of the Divine Weapon Sect. "Who are you? Why are you trespassing on the Divine Energy Sect?" A deep voice was heard. Airflows enveloped Yi Qinghan and Blue Demon. "Yi Qinghan is here to visit the mountain. Please come out and meet me, sect leader of the Divine Weapon Sect." Yi Qinghan's divine robes fluttered. Airflows spread out, and his aura was magnificent. Yi Qinghan was quite famous in the Longxing region. Back then, he had managed to escape despite being chased by so many people. His name was known throughout the 9 heavens, so it was impossible for the Divine Energy Sect not to have heard of him. Now that the Killer God Sect and so many other sects in the Longxing region had been destroyed, The Divine Energy sect had yet to receive the news. Otherwise, they would be even more shocked. Yi Qinghan? Didn't you run away? Why have you come to the Divine Energy sect? The Divine Energy sect has not interfered in the feud between you and the Killer God sect. Please leave, fellow cultivator. A white-haired old man appeared on the mountainside of the Divine Energy sect with 3 middle-aged men. 1 lord and 3 half-step lords. Such an organization was indeed impressive. The Killer God sect has been destroyed. Now, the most powerful sect in the Longxing region is probably your Divine Energy sect. I have something to ask you, and the Longxing region will belong to your Divine Energy sect, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. What? The old man was shocked. There were so many experts in the Longxing region, and his Divine Energy sect was only slightly above average. Had all the other sects been destroyed? Yi Qinghan brought Blue Demon to the mountainside in 1 step. He looked down at the old man, and his tone was commanding. The news will spread very quickly. I want to know about the insane sect. Tell me everything you know. Yi Qinghan's aura was indeed overbearing, but the old man didn't dare think too much about it because he couldn't even control his qi. He was like a frail old man facing Yi Qinghan. He didn't even have the strength to resist. The insane sect? Are you talking about the insane sect controlled by the Chaos Dragon's inheritor, Emperor Yi? The old man was drenched in cold sweat as he asked in a trembling voice. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up, and he immediately nodded. Yes. Where are they now? Have they been in any danger? The old man bowed and replied, Fellow cultivator, the insane sect is now in the Endless Star System. I don't know their exact location, but I do know that they're currently surrounded by people from 2 major camps. The situation is dire. It seems that because of the spiritual body, one side wants to kill them, and the other side wants to take them away. The insane sect has very few powerhouses left. What did you say? Yi Qinghan's aura surged, and he was burning with anger. This old man has only heard of it. Only the crazy sect dares to fight against the people of the 2 camps. Rumors have spread far and wide. A lot of it is just hearsay. Please don't take it seriously. I suggest that you ask the real castellans of the big cities, the great demonic god's bloodline, or the people of the sorcerer tribe's camp. The old man quickly explained. Yi Qinghan could not suppress the anger in his heart. If the great demon god wanted to take them away, he could imagine them attacking the insane sect. But if the sorcerer tribe wanted to take them away, it was outrageous. Let's go. Yi Qinghan's cold voice was emotionless. He pulled Lan Yao through the void and arrived at the gate of the city. He ordered someone to adjust the teleportation location and prepared to leave the Dragon Rising territory to search for the Endless Star System. Now that the planes had merged into one, the small planes were just small galaxies. They all flew around the Chaos Plane, densely packed and innumerable. To find the Endless Star System from here was like looking for a needle in a haystack. But Yi Qinghan had to search one by one. Chapter 936. The galaxy was vast and there was no end to the plane. The stars in the sky were nowhere to be found. Yi Qinghan was transported to the border of the Dragon Roaming Territory. Beyond the Dragon Roaming Territory was the desolate ancient Dao world. It was said that the desolate ancient Dao world had a complete inheritance and was very close to the demonic mountain world. It was under the influence of the demonic mountain and was the most powerful region in the region. The desolate ancient Dao world and the Dragon Roaming Territory were originally not connected. However, after the Chaos Unification, they merged together. Yi Qinghan looked at the checkpoint in front of him. The desolate ancient Dao world seemed to look down on the Dragon Roaming Territory and had sealed the entrance. Apart from lords, ordinary people were forbidden from entering the Dragon Roaming Territory. If not for the unfathomable killer god path in the Dragon Roaming Territory, the desolate ancient Dao world would have probably annexed the Dragon Roaming Territory. The killer god path was quite skilled in assassination. However, facing Yi Qinghan and the serpent god, who had unparalleled physical bodies, they could only blame themselves for being unlucky if they were killed. Don't call me by my name when we get there. I'm afraid the demonic mountain lineage is looking for me everywhere. I have to return to the insane sect first. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment. He was not powerful enough at the moment and could not have a direct confrontation with the demonic mountain lineage. He reminded Lan Yao. Lan Yao nodded. Now that she was with Yi Qinghan, she had to listen to his arrangements. Let's go. Let's enter the desolate ancient Tao world. I want to find some treasures to recover my divine power. Yi Qinghan was very calm. He mobilized the sequence Great Tao and changed the muscles on his face. He was still vigorous, but it was difficult to recognize him as Yi Qinghan. If we address each other as partners, they won't suspect my identity. Yi Qinghan stepped onto the checkpoint and transmitted his voice silently. Lan Yao blushed and reached out to hold Yi Qinghan's arm. Yi Qinghan stepped onto the checkpoint indifferently but was stopped by a group of soldiers. Their cultivation levels were not bad. Most of them were at the high god level. The leader was a half-step lord. They were all middle-aged and young. It was clear how rich the spiritual energy here was and how many high gods were born. Who are you? Why have you come to the ancient Tao world? The leading half-step lord asked coldly. These people did not give Yi Qinghan face just because he exuded the aura of a master god. In the barren ancient Tao world, only the barren ancient divine nation was the most powerful. The barren ancient Tao world was a centralized monarchy. All power was concentrated in the divine nation. The emperor was the most powerful. Every emperor was crowned by a top cultivator from the demon god mountain. The emperor represented the demon god mountain. Yi Qinghan glanced at the guards coldly. His chief god's aura spread out, causing everyone to retreat continuously. How dare you challenge the might of the barren ancient Tao world? Do you have a death wish? The half-step lord retreated a few steps and threatened coldly. Kid, if I want to kill you, the desolate ancient Tao world won't be able to save you. Remember, you can choose not to revere experts, but you must respect them. Yi Qinghan's eyes shone with a will as he looked down at the guards. His murderous aura was so real that it was enough to scare off a chief god. The guards immediately collapsed to the ground and lost control of their bodily functions. The guards' mouths twitched. They wanted to speak but could not. They were sweating profusely and did not dare to look directly at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan searched the half-step lord's memories right away and understood most of the barren ancient Tao world structure. Only then did he know that this large territory was ruled by a monarchy. There were a total of 100 nobles overseeing all directions. They were all the most powerful lords. Among them, there were 18 lords with the chaos giant god divine persona. Compared to the Longxing territory or the Saint Stage, they were indeed much more powerful. Near them was Daluo Heaven City. The overseer here was the exalted divine king, a member of the royal family. His cultivation level was unfathomable. He had 7 lord-level powerhouses under him. Although their combat strength was not great, they were invincible when faced with these ordinary living beings. Yi Qinghan learned the location and rushed to Daluo Heaven City with Lan Yao. Everywhere they passed, they discovered that the living beings here were unusually powerful. There were countless small cities and counties. 3 days later, they arrived at a small county near Daluo Heaven City and stopped in the county with Lan Yao. When they arrived at an inn, Yi Qinghan asked for 2 rooms. He sat cross-legged on the bed alone and transferred the divine chaos source and some remaining pure sunlight elements to restore his divine power. He had been hurrying these past few days. His 13 godhoods were all empty. Without divine power, he could kill a chief god with his physical body alone. However, if the other party wanted to escape, it would be difficult to catch up. In one night, Yi Qinghan devoured 3 whole pieces of divine chaos source and finally filled all 13 godhoods with chaos divine power. Coupled with some pure sunlight elements, he finally recovered to his strongest state. When he arrived at Lan Yao's room, Yi Qinghan knocked on the door and pushed it open. He said indifferently, "Lan Yao, stay here and wait for me. I will make a trip to the great Haven Law City. I will be back in 2 days if I'm fast and 3 to 5 days if I'm slow." Lan Yao wanted to go to Daluo Heaven City to take a look. She also wanted to stay with Yi Qinghan. However, she was unwilling and said, "I won't be a burden to you. We can even take care of each other. I am a chief god after all. I can charm any ordinary chief god." Yi Qinghan glanced at her coldly and replied with disdain, "I don't need you to charm anyone. Just stay here quietly. Daluo Heaven City can't stop me. I will be back after I catch a chief god and ask for the location of the insane sect." After saying that, Yi Qinghan closed the door and left the inn. He left the small county and rushed towards the main city, Daluo Heaven City. He was very low-key and safe on the way. When he arrived at Daluo Heaven City, the sky was not dark yet. The city gates were wide open and the city walls towered into the clouds. There was a separate space inside the city walls where many experts were hiding. They were all holding divine crossbows that could block the attacks of experts. Yi Qinghan restrained his aura and looked like an ordinary young man. He reported his name, Lonimo. After getting an identity card, he stepped into the city. The lights in the city were waning and there were many brothels. In such an ancient and decaying place, there was nothing but enjoyment. "Young master, come and play. Why waste your youth on cultivation? Master, I can make you a supreme expert in an instant. Come and play." A 5-story brothel was illuminated by colorful divine lights. A large number of beautiful and enchanting women were reaching out their hands to solicit customers. They could be considered average in terms of appearance. Cultivators were all good-looking. Those who could be ranked average among the cultivators were great beauties. Their enchanting figures and charming voices could make one's bones burn. This kind of unscrupulous solicitation of customers showed that the city was rotten to the core. There were countless brothels like this in the city. Yi Qinghan walked in front of the brothel and was stopped by a woman who looked like a procuress. She was wearing revealing clothes. The men around were drooling, but no one dared to take advantage of her. After all, everyone in the city knew that the background of this brothel was not small. Even the rich young masters would not dare to act recklessly. "Master, is this your first time in Daluo Heaven City? My Luotian pavilion has beauties from various clans. We even have demon clan experts who have transformed into human form. Our service is excellent and can make you feel as if you are flying. Do you want to come in and have a seat?" The procuress swayed her waist and pulled Yi Qinghan's arm. Yi Qinghan looked at the procuress calmly. His deep eyes made the procuress's heart tremble. "Oh, my lord, it seems that your cultivation is not bad. Nowadays, there are not many cultivators like you. Someone like you should enjoy yourself more. Wouldn't it be sad to be alone for such a long time? My Luotian pavilion can definitely make you forget your home." The procuress continued to tempt him. "Is Luotian Pavilion the biggest brothel in Daluo Heaven City?" Yi Qinghan stared at the procuress and asked in a low voice. Chapter 937. Yi Qinghan looked at the madam calmly. There was no lust in his eyes. When the madam heard that, she immediately felt that she had a chance. She hugged Yi Qinghan's arm and said, "Oh, it seems like this is your first time in Daluo Heaven City. Our Luotian Pavilion is definitely the biggest brothel in Daluo Heaven City. The most beautiful courtesans are all in our Luotian Pavilion. We gather female cultivators from various clans. I can find you any clan you know. If I want to get some information from here, I can get it too?" Yi Qinghan asked softly. "I'm not boasting. Our Luotian Pavilion welcomes guests from all over the world. In terms of information, I'm afraid it's not inferior to the world's top intelligence system. As for what information you want to get, it depends on how much you spend in the Luotian Pavilion," the madam replied proudly. Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment. Suppressing a lord was too risky. It was better to ask around in such a brothel. At most, he would spend some supreme-grade divine crystals. After weighing the pros and cons, Yi Qinghan quickly chose to enter the Luotian Pavilion. As soon as he entered the pavilion, a group of female cultivators swarmed forward like hungry wolves pouncing on a tiger. They surrounded Yi Qinghan tightly. Yi Qinghan frowned. How could such vulgar people catch his eye? Even if he really came to the land of evolution and wanted someone to serve him, he should at least have some taste. "Call out the best." "I'll pick one myself," Yi Qinghan said calmly. "You have good taste, lord. You're refined." The madam's eyes were sharp. She could tell at a glance that Yi Qinghan was not ordinary. He was generous, so she personally came out to stop him and pulled him into the Luotian Pavilion. Ladies, there's an important guest. Why aren't you coming out to welcome him? The madam looked to be in her 30s. However, she had a maturity and charm that others did not have. Some women would not be able to understand the charm of a woman who had experienced the hardships of life. As soon as her voice rang out, it immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the Luotian Pavilion. The Luotian Pavilion was a ring-shaped building. The hall was very spacious, and the 5-story ring-shaped building was open to the public. Both sides of the upper floor were filled with tables. Most of the tables were filled with self-proclaimed romantic men hugging some female cultivators to have fun. At this moment, all of them were looking down at Yi Qinghan from above. "Auntie, we don't like what you're saying. What do you mean by important guests? We come here every day to support you, but you don't even call us big guests. Now that you're saying something like this, aren't you afraid that you'll disappoint us old customers?" A mocking and dissatisfied remark came from upstairs, which resonated with everyone. "That's right, he's just a little brat. Auntie, don't misjudge him. When the time comes, not only will he have tofu for free, but he'll also be stained with dirty clothes." Ha! A burly man hugged 2 female outsiders and laughed maniacally. Ha! The guffaws rang out in the Luotian Pavilion. The brothel girls were even more unrestrained, laughing and mocking with their customers. I say, sirs, please don't mock me. You are all important guests, and this venerable is also an important guest. Don't you all need to be divided among the important guests? After all, this important guest wants to pick the top courtesan. You are all important guests, so why don't you take care of my business? The madam was full of smiles. Although she was trying to provoke them with her words, it did not make them feel uncomfortable at all. When she mentioned the courtesan, many people shut their mouths. There were only a few courtesans, and one night was worth thousands of gold. Hundreds of thousands of high-grade divine crystals would not be enough. Normally, courtesans were priced in supreme-grade divine crystals. One night would cost hundreds of divine crystals, or even thousands of divine crystals. No one would spend that much money. Apart from those with powerful family backgrounds, most people would not choose courtesans. He looks so poor. If he can afford to choose a courtesan, I'll choose one today as well. A cold snort broke the silence. A young man in embroidered clothes walked out from a private room on the 3rd floor. He held a wine cup in his hand and looked coldly at Yi Qinghan. A mocking smile appeared on his handsome face. The madam wanted these young masters to fight. Otherwise, where would she get the divine crystals? When she saw the young man walk out to provoke them, she could not help but laugh. She transmitted her voice. "This young master is the 2nd young master of the Leaping Dragon Trading Company. Esteemed guest, please don't be calculative with him." Yi Qinghan was not interested in fighting with a retard. He said calmly, "Give me a private room. Call all the courtesans with the best information to my room." Esteemed guest, a courtesan's expenses are based on time. A courtesan costs 100 supreme-grade divine crystals per hour. If there are special services, you'll naturally have to pay more. The madam smiled and indicated that there would be a deposit. Yi Qinghan snorted. He waved his hand and took out a primal chaos divine source. A supreme-grade divine source was equivalent to 1,000,000 supreme-grade divine crystals. It was very rare in the world and was a divine item that overgods loved to use. It was much more valuable than divine crystals. "Convert it into supreme-grade divine crystals and send it to my room," Yi Qinghan said calmly. The madam's pupils shrank. She immediately said excitedly, "That's enough, that's enough. Esteemed guest, you're indeed someone who knows how to put on airs. Little Ling, little fox, little cat, come out and receive the guests. You won't be lonely today," the madam called out cheerfully. "Coming." A few crisp sounds broke the silence, causing everyone to gulp. Usually, even big clients would only call 1 or 2 courtesans. They did not expect Yi Qinghan to call all the courtesans out at once. Just how rich was he? All of them were as beautiful as flowers and came from different tribes. There were foxes, cats, and supreme-grade humans. 2 of them even had the noble bloodline of a chaos giant god. However, their cultivation bases were still stuck at half-step lord level. It was absolutely impossible for them to advance to Lord level without a large amount of resources. Perhaps some of them were doing it to experience the hardships of prostitution, while others were doing it for enjoyment. However, a portion of them were doing it to earn resources for cultivation and would not hesitate to sell their bodies. Yi Qinghan did not look down on them. There were many ways in life, and everyone was forced to do it. It was fine as long as they did not endlessly degrade their souls. 5th floor, Qingya Pavilion. This way please, young master. The madam accepted the primal chaos divine source with a smile on her face. Yi Qinghan stepped onto the 5th floor under everyone's watchful eyes. He paid no attention to their gazes. His cold eyes were filled with a fiery aura, causing one to experience both ice and fire. It was not that there were no lords in the Luotian pavilion, but they were very obedient at the moment. This was because they could sense that Yi Qinghan's abilities were extraordinary. He was definitely not someone an ordinary lord could contend with. The courtesans had never been so excited before. No one cared more about supreme-grade divine crystals than they did. Otherwise, with their seductive faces, they would not have been reduced to such a state. Yi Qinghan arrived at Qingya Pavilion and pushed the door open. The room was very large. There was a large round table with some supreme-grade spirit fruits on it. There was also a large bed in the room. It was definitely a perfect match. It was the favorite place for men and women to enjoy life. So, Yi Qinghan gestured with his hand. He did not even raise his head to look at the courtesans' faces. He had no desires, and there was not even a hint of greed in his eyes. The seductive courtesans exchanged glances. They did not expect Yi Qinghan to have such an expression. They had no idea why he had entered the Luotian pavilion. Chapter 938. The procuress brought 1,000,000 supreme-grade divine crystals to the Qingya pavilion. Then, she signaled to the 7 female cultivators with her eyes. They understood what the procuress meant and nodded. Their eyes shone brightly, as if they wanted to skin Yi Qinghan alive. After the procuress left, Yi Qinghan waved his hand and sealed the door. He then moved the private room to another space. On the surface, it was still in the Luotian pavilion, but in reality, it was no longer there. Yi Qinghan placed a table full of supreme-grade divine crystals. He was very generous. Answer my questions. 1,000 supreme-grade divine crystals for each correct answer. Also, you have to promise that you won't tell anyone about my questions for a year. Yi Qinghan sat on the bed and looked at the women. He noticed that 2 of them had a slight change in expression, as if they were unwilling to accept this. The others were very excited, especially the 2 transformed beauties from the fox and cat races. Sir, we sisters just arrived and haven't received any guests yet. We don't know much. The 2 human girls lowered their heads and answered submissively. Yi Qinghan looked at the 2 girls and knew that they were the Ling sisters that the procuress had mentioned. He then said coldly, "If you don't know, then sit quietly." Sir, if it's a big matter in the chaotic universe that isn't public, I will definitely know. If you have any questions, please ask. I guarantee that I won't let you down, the little fox said excitedly. The cat girl nodded, but her eyes were fixed on the supreme-grade divine crystals. No matter how beautiful she was, she liked rich people like Yi Qinghan who didn't treat divine crystals as divine crystals. Yi Qinghan was silent for a while. He was thinking about how to ask without exposing his identity and arousing suspicion. Which of the 2 factions is stronger now? What's the advantage? How's the strength of their constitutions? Yi Qinghan was very calm. He looked at the courtesans and chose the 2 factions as the starting point. Of course, the demonic god mountain is more powerful. Their advantage is not only because they have more battle constitutions, but also because the great demonic god's inheritor, Emoli, has cultivated the demonic god codex. I heard that the demonic god codex has 108 most powerful great divine abilities, and he has learned 3 of them in just 1,000 years. Even Wu Yen of the sorcerer faction is slightly weaker. Wu Yen has to work together with someone with a battle constitution to be able to force great demonic devil Li to a draw. As for a battle constitution, that's a legendary existence. With a single strike, It can kill the city lords and sovereigns of some cities. They're on completely different levels, the fox woman said hurriedly. After saying that, she stared at the divine crystals on the table. She really wanted to take away a pile of them. A single pile was worth 1,000 top-grade divine crystals. She could only earn that much by serving others for a day. It was not every day that someone would invite her to appear. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, "Take $1,000. The fox woman excitedly took away the pile of top-grade divine crystals and looked at Yi Qinghan again. She took the initiative to entangle herself with him. Her jade-like hands wandered around his body. She wanted to tease and make Yi Qinghan happy so that she could get more. Yi Qinghan's body tensed up. He wanted to stop her, but it would be too strange to stop a top-grade woman at this time. Moreover, he had paid for it. In order to shut these people up, he had no choice but to endure it. Aside from the battle constitution, Wu Yan, and Mo Li, who else is the strongest of the younger generation? Yi Qinghan took the initiative to lead the women over. He wanted to inquire about Emperor Yi. "I know that." The Catwoman immediately raised her hand and said, "I know that too. Young master, the pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. Let me answer first." The fox woman wanted to seize the opportunity. She was extremely charming as she tried to seduce Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan did not like this kind of scheming bitch. He took the opportunity to push the fox woman away and said coldly, "I like fairness. Let her answer." The Catwoman followed the rules. Seeing that Yi Qinghan agreed to let her answer, she immediately said, "The three strongest of the younger generation are the demon god's inheritor, Mo Li, the witch's inheritor, Wu Yan, and the master of the insane sect, Emperor Yi. I heard that she is the Chaos Dragon's inheritor. Even Lord Mo Li and Lord Wu Yan have to give her face." Yi Qinghan pretended not to know about the insane sect. He put on a puzzled expression and asked, "Insane sect? Who can explain the insane sect to me in detail?" This question is worth 5,000 top-grade divine crystals. Of course, the more detailed the better. You can all answer. Whoever answers to my satisfaction will get the 5,000 divine crystals. Finally, Yi Qinghan changed the topic to the insane sect. Now, everyone was interested. However, the two girls from the cat race and the fox race were still the most knowledgeable. Perhaps it was because human experts liked this kind of ****** love. They received the most customers and knew the most. After the Catwoman received the 1,000 top-grade divine crystals, she immediately said, "The insane sect is located in the endless star system. I heard that the founder is a young man called Yi Qinghan. Emperor Yi is his wife. The insane sect is divided into the inner and outer sect. There are many disciples in the outer sect. However, the inner sect only had about 40 people at its peak. Now there are only 18 left." Crack! Yi Qinghan's aura turned cold when he heard this. He clenched his fists and almost could not hold it in. When he left, there were almost 40 people in the inner sect. How could there be only 18 left now? Continue. Tell me why there are only 18 people left in the insane sect? Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. I heard that it was because of the ethereal body. At that time, both camps wanted to unify the chaos, but they lacked the ethereal body. In order to force the insane sect to hand over the ethereal body, the two camps began to encircle the insane sect. This led to the fall of many of the insane sect's experts. The Catwoman was a little afraid of Yi Qinghan's aura. She lowered her head and did not dare to look directly at him. Continue, Yi Qinghan said coldly. Over the years, because the insane sect has Emperor Yi, the two camps have temporarily stopped attacking. However, both sides still want to kill the ethereal body while the other wants to take the ethereal body. However, because they are afraid of Emperor Yi, the three sides have been entangled for a long time. In addition, the remaining 18 people in the insane sect are all top-level existences. Some of them are even comparable to battle constitutions. Therefore, the insane sect's status has been elevated to the level of some of the top forces. Yi Qinghan exhaled and continued to ask, who knows the location of the insane sect and how to reach the endless star system? This question is still worth 5,000 top-grade divine crystals. This time, everyone fell silent. Although the Catwoman coveted the 5,000 top-grade divine crystals, she did not have the ability to take them. The Fox Woman looked at the courtesans looking at each other. Her eyes flashed, but she did not say anything. The smart ones could tell at a glance that she was going to raise the price. Because she knew the answer, but the other courtesans did not. Yi Qinghan glanced at her and secretly sneered. However, if she wanted to earn divine crystals, then let her. He did not lack divine crystals. The location of the insane sect was the most important thing. It seems that you know the answer. Tell me, how many divine crystals do you want? But don't go overboard. Because if you know the answer, so do others. It's just that I don't like to show off, Yi Qinghan said calmly. I'm not asking for much. 10,000 top-grade divine crystals. Not only will I answer your question, but I will also serve you for a night. I guarantee that you will enjoy the bliss of the world. The Fox Woman wriggled her body like water and went into Yi Qinghan's arms again. Chapter 939. Yi Qinghan looked at the little fox demoness who was emitting a seductive aura. Although he did not despise her, he could not accept it either. Hence, he threw 10,000 supreme-grade divine crystals to her. The fox demoness caught the divine crystals excitedly. She then told Yi Qinghan the specific route to the endless star system. Yi Qinghan could see that the endless star system was still a long way away from here based on the route drawn by the fox demoness. Even if they used the large realm gate to travel continuously, it would still take a few months. He was eager to return. However, he had to complete his act. If he left the Luotian pavilion now, he would attract attention. Hence, he said, the little Ling sisters will stay. The rest of you will take 1,000 supreme-grade divine crystals each. The fox demoness expression turned ugly. She did not expect Yi Qinghan to choose the two ignorant girls over her. She was very displeased. She took 1,000 supreme-grade divine crystals and left. The cat demoness also received quite a lot. The rest of them did not answer a single question. They only received 1,000 supreme-grade divine crystals. Although it was not a small amount, it was not enough for such an important guest. However, there was nothing they could do. Yi Qinghan was not interested in them at all. The little Ling sisters did not know much about the world. He did not know why they would stay here. Yi Qinghan was also not interested in asking. Everyone had their own way of life. The next day, Yi Qinghan left behind 100,000 supreme-grade divine crystals and left quietly. He returned to the small county, picked up Lan Yao, and returned to Daluo Heaven City. He used the large realm gate teleportation formation to travel through the huge realm gate. Wherever he went, the realm gates would be forcefully opened. If they were not allowed to use them, he would attack them until they were. Yi Qinghan raced against time, traversing through over 10 regions and wasting 3 months' time. Finally, he appeared in the covetous wolf plain. Finding the covetous wolf plain was equivalent to reaching the mythical plane. Countless small star systems revolved around the mythical plane, flying back and forth. The powerful gravitational force caused the entire star system to fly according to its trajectory. After locking onto the endless star system, Yi Qinghan brought Blue Demon into the star system and quickly found the central region. News of Yi Qinghan's appearance instantly exploded in the endless star system. He was the most powerful god in the endless star system. Even though Emperor Yi was the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon, the world only believed that Yi Qinghan was the strongest. No one could compare to him. In the end, all the faith gathered on Yi Qinghan. The largest stone statue in every temple was of Yi Qinghan, followed by the rest of the inner sect. Yi Qinghan moved as fast as lightning, heading straight for Owl War Planet. It was only a small region, so it couldn't stop him. Half a day later, he and Lan Yao appeared on Owl War Planet. Owl War Planet was now the center of the endless star system. Pilgrims no longer went to the central region. Instead, they came to Owl War Planet. Emperor Yi was alarmed by Blue Demon's aura and discovered Yi Qinghan. He couldn't help but soar into the sky and appear beside Yi Qinghan. The two of them hugged. Emperor Yi was so happy that he cried. The pressure recently was too great. It was so great that he almost couldn't breathe. A young girl like her had to face the pressure of two great factions. Only Emperor Yi could do this. Master, you're finally back. If you didn't come back soon, the Kuang sect wouldn't be able to hold on. Little Tian won't be able to hold on for much longer either. Emperor Yi said anxiously. Wenyan, has her inherited gene awakened? Yi Qinghan's expression was solemn as he asked in a low voice. Fincham, the frequency of her awakening is getting faster and faster. In the past, it would take her 10 days to break through my suppression. A few days ago, it took her 3 days. Now it takes her 2 days. Sometimes she can't even suppress it for a single day. Every time she awakens, she would be tortured to death. Emperor Yi said with heartache. Yi Qinghan sighed. He turned to Blue Demon and said, This Dao friend Blue Demon is my savior. If it wasn't for her, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to return. Can you help me make some arrangements? I'll go and visit Wenyan. Emperor Yi didn't ask or question. When he heard that Blue Demon was Yi Qinghan's savior, he quickly smiled and said, Many thanks for Dao friend's kindness. Please follow me. Blue Demon followed Emperor Yi to the main sect of the Kuang sect. It was the ruins of the Yi clan. Now, it had been renovated and the environment was very good. It wasn't luxurious, but it calmed one's heart and made one feel particularly comfortable. Yi Qinghan also followed them to the Kuang sect. Under the guidance of Emperor Yi, they found the place where Qin Wenyan was sealed in ice. Jian Chenxue was also there. She used the snow sealing technique to delay Qin Wentian's awakening. When Jian Chenxue saw that Yi Qinghan had returned, she immediately rushed over. She was so excited that she couldn't speak. Yi Qinghan patted Jian Chenxue's shoulder and said in a hoarse voice, It's been hard on you all these years. It's not hard. It's the brothers of the Kuang sect who have worked hard. Now, in order to survive, we walk on the edge of despair every day. It's good that you're back. Jian Chenxue was so happy that she cried and said softly. Yi Qinghan was the backbone of everyone in the Kuang sect. No matter how difficult the situation was, as long as Yi Qinghan was there, they would be able to overcome it. Perhaps it was the prestige accumulated from the Emperor battle that had lasted until now. Although the Emperor battle back then didn't have much cultivation, his passion and fighting spirit were incomparable. Let me take a look at Wenyan. Yi Qinghan slowly walked over to the ice bed. Qin Wenyan had already grown up and was extremely beautiful. However, at this moment, she appeared extremely dispirited. Her facial muscles were contorted, and one could tell how much pain she had endured these past few days. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. Looking at Qin Wentian's appearance, he couldn't think of a better way. If he removed the soul lock curse now, Qin Wentian might feel better. However, she might be on the opposite side of the Kuang sect. Once they started fighting, it would cause great damage to the Kuang sect. I'd rather you live an ordinary life, unable to display the strength of the ethereal body. Yi Qinghan frowned and said to himself hoarsely. He stretched out his hand and helped the unconscious Qin Wenyan up. His soul slowly entered Qin Wentian's sea of consciousness. A powerful soul came from all directions, forcibly splitting Qin Wentian's soul into two. The later memories were suppressed in the depths of the sea of bitterness, sealed and locked, making it impossible for her to struggle out of the sea of bitterness. However, this Qin Wenyan wouldn't be the complete Qin Wenyan. Her soul might even return to the time when she was 10 years old. In other words, she might become an idiot. In order to prevent the inherited genes from erupting again, Yi Qinghan carefully removed all the possibilities of a relapse. Now, he could only pour in powerful magic energy every day to ensure that the seal would never lose its effect. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to seal it a second time. AI, being ordinary is a blessing. Having the ethereal body might not be a good thing. I also don't want to let you go and let you become my enemy. Yi Qinghan bitterly smiled and shook his head. If it was anyone else, he would have already killed them without mercy. However, Qin Wenyan was ultimately a child he raised. Rather than a daughter-in-law, she was more like a daughter to him. After the seal was done, Yi Qinghan woke Qin Wenyan up. Qin Wenyan opened her eyes. There was no longer any malevolence in them, only emptiness. Her clear eyes were like the Milky Way. It was impossible to see the source of her gaze. Uncle, I had a really big nightmare. He thought. It was so scary, but I can't remember what I dreamt of. Qin Wendian opened her eyes and stared at Yi Qinghan. Her eyes were filled with fear. She wasn't afraid of Yi Qinghan, but she was afraid of the pain brought to her by the inherited genes and the soul-locking curse. Yi Qinghan's brows twitched. He didn't expect that the pain she suffered during these past few days would be imprinted into her bones. She could still remember it even after the seal. Chapter 940. Yi Qinghan comforted Qin Wendian and found that her soul was really only around 10 years old. He couldn't help but sigh. The stronger one was, the more powerless they felt in the face of such a universe. He handed Qin Wendian over to Jian Chenxue and went outside the Kuang sect. Looking at the desolate Kuang sect, it had lost the liveliness of the past. The number of the older generation was rapidly decreasing, and even the younger generation had to become the main force to struggle and fight. It was as if they had returned to the era of the emperors, where the entire galaxy would be destroyed if they were not careful. Such a familiar plot, but the enemies we are facing are even stronger than before. Yi Qinghan murmured to himself as he looked at the mountains and rivers. He was not a peerless hero, but this was a place that many heroes had sacrificed their lives to protect. Back then, many of his brothers and seniors had sacrificed their lives to protect this place. He might not save the common people, but he would not give up an inch of this place. An inch of mountains and rivers, an inch of blood, 1,000,000 lives, 1,000,000 soldiers. His ambition from back then had not been erased. Every time he returned, Yi Qinghan's blood would be hot and boiling. He would not allow anyone to trample on the endless mountains and rivers, not even a blade of grass could be touched. At this moment, Emperor Yi arranged for Lan Yao to come to Yi Qinghan's side. Following Yi Qinghan's line of sight, he seemed to have discovered that the people from the two factions were still guarding outside the galaxy. A large number of experts were staring at this place. Now they are like maggots looking for an opportunity. If we are not careful, even our bones may be swallowed by them. Emperor Yi sighed helplessly. Where are Qingyu and the others? Yi Qinghan asked in a hoarse voice. They brought the children to the depths of chaos to seek treasures. According to the plan, they should be on their way back. Miss Zixian, Taoist Dong Qin, and Taoist Li Feng are now cooperating with us. Their team is quite strong. Even if they want to attack, they have to consider the price. They want to reap the benefits so that we can survive. Emperor Yi explained the current situation. Yi Qinghan had a rough understanding of the situation. He clenched his fist and the spear of time appeared in his hand. In just a few short years, he killed half of my inner sect brothers. If I don't take revenge, how can I face them in the future? Yi Qinghan growled as the spear of time constantly vibrated and whistled. The nearby time fluctuations became faster and faster. Who are the experts from the Demon God Mountain and the witch tribe stationed outside the endless star system? Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. The lineage of the great demonic god has the Black Tiger battle form, the Sun Moon battle form, and the Atlas battle form. The camp of the sorcerer tribe has the luminous battle form, as well as a few of the older cultivators of the sorcerer tribe. Now, their combat strength has increased tenfold, and they are able to merge with the current great path. They are far from what ordinary people can compare with. Back then, Li Feng was able to kill the Atlas battle form and the Sun Moon battle form, but now, whether or not he can win one-on-one is another matter. Emperor Yi sighed. Mo Li and Wu Jiang aren't here? Yi Qinghan asked in surprise. They are not here. They are both cultivating the demonic god codex and the secret arts of the sorcerer tribe. They will not come out for a while, Emperor Yi replied. Yi Qinghan sneered. The two camps had beaten the Guangzong so badly. If he did not kill the two battle forms, he would not be able to face his dead brothers. You stay here. I will go and see what they are doing. Yi Qinghan threw out a sentence and took to the sky. He hid in a different space and kept approaching the periphery of the endless star system. The south of Owl War Star was the fastest way to leave the system. The people of the two camps were stationed there. If the Guangzong wanted to leave the system, he would have to take a detour and enter the chaotic universe. It would be too difficult to enter the chaotic plane. The two camps were stationed on two dead stars, which blocked the life gate of Owl War Star. They could attack if they wanted to, but they could also guard the exit if they wanted to. It was like two fangs piercing the Kwangzong's neck. A huge system was formed near Owl Warstar. It grouped Owl Warstar, Owl Falling Star, and a series of other life systems together. There were also many dead stars. Yi Qinghan quickly rushed to the two dead stars stationed there. He found that they had actually changed the order of the stars. Gradually, creatures appeared and turned the dead stars into life planets. There were many powerful warriors stationed there. The weakest were lower god priests, and the most were middle god priests. They were in charge of patrolling and restricting the free movement of the Kwangzong and the people of the Endless Star System. Lu Zhantian led the battle and was relatively strong. He, Lu Outyen, and Xia Chiyue were stationed on Owl Falling Star and other life planets to prevent the people of the two camps from attacking. Yi Qinghan did not disturb them. He lurked from the galaxy to the dead star where the demonic gods were stationed. This time, Yi Qinghan did not prepare to attack immediately. Instead, he looked for an opportunity to kill the people of both camps in one blow. He wanted to let them taste the pain and then they would naturally restrain themselves. However, it was difficult to kill the battle physique. After all, it was not just one battle physique, but 3 or 4. Even if they fought head-on, they could still beat Yi Qinghan until he could not breathe. Although the Death Star had been changed by the demonic gods and had some life, its essence had not changed. Below it was still limestone without any soil. Yi Qinghan could not burrow into the ground, so he could only lower his body and crawl forward. He discovered that there was an army of more than 100,000 stationed here, with the middle gods serving as the foundation. The lower gods were purely for service purposes. They were in a strict formation, patrolling back and forth. It was very difficult to approach the Death Star quietly, especially since the entire Death Star had been flattened. There was no cover at all, making it even more difficult to advance quickly. The 3 battle physiques were in the center of the camp. They usually did not go out and were always in seclusion. The center of the camp was filled with the best quality divine crystals. The spiritual qi in the surroundings was not inferior to the outside. Yi Qinghan felt the aura of the 3 battle physiques. They were indeed much stronger. They were weaker than him, but not by much. If it was a one-on-one battle, he could easily defeat them. If it was a group battle, they could cooperate seamlessly. He was definitely no match for the 3 of them. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and decided to retreat. He would wait for the brothers of the inner sect of the Kwangzong to gather and launch a counterattack. He would try to destroy 1 or even 2 battle physiques in one go. That way, the Kwangzong would have an easier time. However, there was another dead star not far from the Dead Star. The people of the Wu tribe were also stationed there. Once the Kwangzong and the demonic gods were both injured, the Wu tribe would suddenly attack and the Kwangzong would suffer heavy losses. Yi Qinghan left the Dead Star occupied by the demonic gods and lurked in the Wu tribe's camp again. He found 4 main gods and 1 battle physique. The main god's divinity was also that of the Chaos Giant God. His combat ability was ridiculously strong. I didn't expect them to think so highly of the Kwangzong that they arranged so many experts here. Yi Qinghan's eyes shone coldly. Did the people of the Wu tribe get kicked in the head by a donkey? No matter how bad they are, they should at least give some face to my son. Now, they are even willing to fall out with the Kwangzong for the sake of the ethereal physique. I really don't know who made the decision. Since you don't give me face, don't blame me for being rude. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He decided to eliminate the people of the Wu tribe's camp first and push all the blame to the demonic gods. She seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life, but there was a sense of familiarity in her bones. It was as if they had met before. Yi Qinghan was quite astonished. He was certain that this person was an old friend of his, but he could not recognize who she was. The old woman also saw Yi Qinghan. When she reached the waist of the mountain in a single step, she was dumbstruck. Her entire body was trembling, and her eyes were brimming with tears. Her face was filled with guilt and remorse. "Are you Big Brother Qinghan?" the old woman asked in a trembling voice. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched and he nodded, but he still did not recognize who the other party was. Bang! The old woman directly knelt down and cried out in regret, Big brother Qinghan, I'm Yi Xiaoming. I was young and ignorant back then, but now I know I was wrong. I beg you to forgive me. Yi Xiaoming, the little girl who bullied Yi Mingxi. She was also punched by Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan could not completely forget her. The memories of his childhood surged into his mind, and when he looked back, he realized that he was already past his prime. Great-grandmother, great-grandmother, who is he? The two little ones returned to Yi Xiaoming's side. They were very sensible and wanted to help her up, but they were unable to move her. Yi Qinghan sighed. How could he bear a grudge for thousands of years over the mistakes of his childhood? With a wave of his hand, he helped Yi Xiaoming up. Get up. It's been so many years, I don't care about it anymore. Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. Then why haven't you come back for so many years? Don't you blame us? We siblings have been very guilty all these years. We wanted you to come back and apologize to you, but they couldn't withstand the ravages of time, so they had no choice but to transfer all their cultivation to me. They wanted me to apologize on their behalf. I've waited for thousands of years and finally, you came back. Yi Xiaoming cried uncontrollably. It seemed that she was truly remorseful. Back then, she had a vicious heart, but now her eyes were filled with kindness. Time really could change a person. Have they all left? I'm still a step too late. Although Yi Qinghan could not be compassionate, he still could not bear it. He scanned the area with his divine sense and finally found the target of those people. They really know that they were wrong. Every day they would talk about it, hoping that you would come back. Even if you didn't forgive them, they would feel gratified if they could see you. But they all left. They died with grievances. Yi Xiaoming sobbed sadly. If we miss it, then so be it. We'll go home and take a look. I haven't been back for so many years. Yi Qinghan looked at Yi Xiaoming, who was past her prime. His only old friend from back then, he took out a very ordinary monarch-level spirit pill and gave it to her. Yi Xiaoming could not bear to eat it. She put it away. He covered his face and looked at Emperor Yi and Qin Wenyin in anger. He coldly laughed and said, "You are strong now and can kill me. However, don't expect my Qin clan to acknowledge you. You have been kicked out of the clan." This was the scene that Emperor Yi was afraid of. Hence, he hadn't come back for so many years. This time, he came back with Yi Qinghan. Unfortunately, the outcome didn't change. Emperor Yi was sad. He didn't expect his own elder brother to hate him so much. Even his own nephew hated him so much. "Brat, how much do you know about what happened back then? How dare you spout nonsense here? If you dare to spout nonsense again, I will kill you." Yi Qinghan shouted angrily. "Lord Battle God, my father told me. Didn't she betray the Qin clan because she wanted to curry favor with you? She caused my grandfather to cough blood and die. My grandparents also hate her to the core. There is no such person in the Qin clan." Qin Yuan said with disdain. "Let's go." Yi Qinghan didn't want to have any more interactions with such a clan. They inverted right and wrong and didn't know the truth. What happened back then was described in such a way by Qin Hao. It was simply laughable. "Master, I want to see my parents. No matter how much they hate me, I am still their daughter." Emperor Yi felt wronged and cried. He didn't want to explain anymore. He just wanted to take a look and leave. "Don't pretend. They were angered to death by you. Get out of the Qin clan." Qin Yuan said angrily. Swish. Yi Qinghan grabbed Qin Yuan and lifted him up. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he said coldly, "Brat, trouble comes from the mouth. If you dare to be disrespectful to her again, I will wipe out your Qin clan." Qin Yuan thought that Emperor Yi and Yi Qinghan cared about ethics and didn't dare to make a move. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so vicious. He was so scared that his face turned pale. "Where are your grandparents?" Yi Qinghan asked coldly. They passed away a long time ago." Qin Yuan replied in horror. "If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Go back and ask your father if what happened back then was true." Yi Qinghan shook off Qin Yuan and left Owl Fall Planet with Emperor Yi and Qin Wenyin. Chapter 943. After returning to Owl War Planet, Emperor Yi cried his eyes out. Yi Qinghan felt his heart ache. He didn't expect Qin Hao to be so useless. After so many years, he still didn't want to make up for his past mistakes. Instead, he resented Emperor Yi, the victim. Looking back at the Yi family's attitude, it was like heaven and earth. After comforting Emperor Yi for a long time, Yi Qinghan finally calmed down. Then, he went to Wang Shi's courtyard and saw her with a couple of children. Only then did he know that there was a new member in the inner sect. He knelt in front of Wang Shi and told her about what happened at the Yi family. Old Madame Yi had already thought it through and took the initiative to persuade him, "Child, what happened back then wasn't your fault, nor was it the Yi family's fault. This was fate. Now that Meng Shi is living happily, although you aren't my biological son, this body is still hers. You are my child. Now that I have so many children and grandchildren, what's there to be calculative about? If husband and that child knew about this in the underworld, I'm sure they would be very happy." "Mother, thank you," Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. "Silly child, I should be the one thanking you. Look at how hard it was back then. I didn't even have enough to eat. But now, with so many children accompanying me, I don't have to worry about food and clothing. I'm very happy. Look at that radish head, he's Lu Outyan's child, he's called Lu Huang. That baby with a red belly and a sky-high braid is Xia Qiue's child. They're all letting me take care of them without worry. My old bones are already so old, it's the happiest thing to have a child to take care of. This is all because you risked your life in front of me, so what do you have to feel guilty about?" Yi Qinghan knelt beside Wang Shi, unable to speak for a long time. "Silly child, if you still feel guilty, then it means that you really don't treat me as your mother. Then I'll leave with Meng Shi now." Wang Shi pretended to be angry as she looked at Yi Qinghan's gloomy face. "Mother, you've given me a second home. You've been my mother ever since you brought little Meng Shi to the mountains that night to look for me with an oil paper umbrella. I've never treated you as an outsider," Yi Qinghan quickly said. "Since you're my son, why are you being so calculative with me? You've done a lot for my dead son. I should be the one feeling guilty towards him. I didn't take good care of him and didn't give him a comfortable home. That's why he was beaten to death. After so many years, I've already gotten over it. Don't even think about it." Wang Shi looked at the group of children who were rolling on the ground and her wrinkled face was full of smiles. Only then did Yi Qinghan feel relieved. "Qinghan, when I'm old, bury me in the ancestral land of the Yi family with your father," Wang Shi suddenly said. Yi Qinghan was stunned and looked at Wang Shi again. There was the sound of bones breaking. His arms were broken. "Ah!" Tiger Liang screamed miserably as his figure flew backward, leaving a deep ravine in the ground. Boom! Yi Qinghan had just landed when he raised his leg and kicked Tiger Liang's neck. Boom! Crack! Tiger Liang's head was smashed into the rock. He was stunned. He couldn't imagine how fast Yi Qinghan was. Yi Qinghan used his powerful body to pin Tiger Liang down. No matter how much he struggled, he couldn't break free from Yi Qinghan's arms and legs. Boom! 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 Bang! Bang! Yi Qinghan rode on Tiger Liang's body, each of his punches landing squarely on Tiger Liang's head. "Fuck! I said that if you dare attack the Kuang sect, you'll have to wait for my revenge. How dare you kill so many of my brothers? Today, this is the interest, you can keep it." Put, put. After Yi Qinghan's punch, he flipped Yi Qinghan over and pressed him down. Then, he waved his hand and slapped Yi Qinghan in the face. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. They didn't expect Yi Qinghan's physical body to be so sharp that he could press Yi Qinghan's battle physique under him and hit him. Was this really a battle between Lord-level experts? There was no technique, only speed and strength. This was the true mystery of the Great Path. Speed and strength were the only things that mattered. In the face of absolute speed and strength, all magical powers were trash. Tiger Liang unleashed the combat strength of the Black Tiger battle physique and turned into a chaotic Black Tiger. He roared wildly, trying to break free from Yi Qinghan's control. He smashed the ground with his limbs and flew into the sky, trying to throw Yi Qinghan off. However, Yi Qinghan rode on him and punched him again and again until Tiger Liang's skin and flesh were lacerated. "I'll let you run." Boom! 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 Yi Qinghan's punches rained down on the black tiger. Tiger Liang's fists were a bloody mess. The sun-moon battle physique trembled. For a moment, he didn't know if he should be glad that he wasn't facing Yi Qinghan or be terrified. Although Yi Qinghan wanted to build a chaotic Dao body of 9 cycles, he didn't have one now. How could he be so strong? The 5 from the sorcerer tribe looked at each other and suddenly regretted agreeing to the bet with Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was clearly here to vent, which was more despairing and painful than killing people. They were supreme lord-level experts with battle physiques. How could they bear such humiliation? Once he made a breakthrough, it would be difficult for Yi Qinghan to win. The sun and moon combat body would not be able to defeat Li Feng. Sure, but what if you lose? Yi Qinghan replied coldly. If I lose, I will immediately withdraw from the endless star system. The sun and moon combat physique said in a muffled voice. No, change it to other conditions. If you dare not withdraw today, I will beat you once a day until you get lost. Why would I need to use the sun and moon divine sword as a stake? Yi Qinghan replied disdainfully. Then what do you want? The sun and moon combat physique asked angrily. Divine art, sword rainbow piercing sun and moon. It is your innate divine art. If you want to exchange it with sword rainbow piercing sun and moon. If you win against Li Feng, not to mention your sun and moon divine sword, I will also return the star saber to you. Yi Qinghan sneered. The sun and moon divine sword and the star saber were the top 10 combat weapons in the past. They were definitely more powerful than the spear of time, but it depended on who was in control. The solitary sword god could only exert 10% of its power. In the hands of the sun and moon combat physique and the star combat physique, the power would immediately increase by 10 times. The sun and moon combat physique hesitated. The stakes were too high. If they lost, they would go for wool and come home shorn. The sword rainbow piercing sun and moon was a top-notch divine art that could increase combat power by 10 times. It was also the strongest killing move to kill experts of the same level. If it was leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Emperor Yi waved his hand, and the star saber appeared in his hand. He patted it gently and deliberately showed it to the two. Since the star saber was here, the sun and moon divine sword must be here as well. It is really in your hands. The pupils of the sun and moon combat physique and the atlas combat physique shrank. They were completely sure that they had taken the 2 most precious divine weapons from the grave of the first-generation atlas combat physique. Do you dare to bet? If you don't dare to bet, then don't talk to me about increasing the stakes. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Fine. I'll bet with you. The sun and moon combat physique went all out in order to take back the sun and moon divine sword and the star saber. Be careful. The atlas combat physique retreated and returned to Tiger Liang's side. He put a divine medicine into the latter's mouth and woke him up. After waking up, Tiger Liang glared at Yi Qinghan with gritted teeth. Yi Qinghan ignored Tiger Liang and began to retreat, leaving enough space for the two. The sun and moon combat physique slid his legs and drew a circle on the ground. He formed a seal with his palms and his divine power roared out. Sun and moon rising blue sky. The divine power converged into 2 huge suns and moons, illuminating the galaxy. His body shattered and was swallowed by the star-twisting vines. Yi Qinghan, are you going to fall out with the Magi tribe? The luminous martial battle physique said angrily. No. How can I fall out with you completely? As the saying goes, there are no eternal enemies and no eternal friends. When you joined forces with the demon god mountain to kill my insane sect, you should have thought of today's situation. Go back and tell Wu Yen that this matter is not over. If he provokes me, I will take the insane sect and the ethereal body to the demon god mountain and wipe out your Magi tribe. Yi Qinghan said coldly. How many have we killed? Most of the insane sect's people were killed by the demon god mountain. What kind of logic is this? The luminous martial battle physique roared angrily. That's why I crippled them. Now is the best chance for you to kill the 3 of them. Do it. Yi Qinghan sneered. Killing 2 overgods of the Magi tribe and making them fight each other would be beneficial to him. If the Magi tribe really destroyed the three overgods today, the Magi tribe would prosper and the insane sect would not benefit. Yi Qinghan would not do such a stupid thing. Tiger Liang was furious. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so vicious. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife without taking any risks. Let's go! Tiger Liang swallowed a divine pill, rolled up the sun and moon battle physique, and fled into the distance. He even abandoned the army stationed on the Death Star. The luminous martial battle physique knew that this was the best chance to kill the three overgods. How could he give up? He immediately rushed over with the remaining two overgods. For a moment, the sky was filled with divine light and murderous intent. The Atlas battle physique followed Tiger Liang into the sky, but the distance between them was getting closer and closer. Yi Qinghan rubbed his hands and smiled. He said indifferently, "Since their masters are fighting, let's add fuel to the fire and let them fight too." The insane sect's people laughed. They did not expect that the insane sect's matter would end up in a fight between the two camps. "Your brain is still the best. You're so cheap." Gu Qingyu shrugged. He did not even have time to attack, but watching them fight each other made him feel particularly happy. Zixin curled her lips and looked at Yi Qinghan. She had fused with Yi Qinghan's soul before. His brain was definitely the strongest in the universe. Coupled with that cheap bird, no one could trick him. She could not help but feel lucky that he was not an enemy. Otherwise, she would not even know how she died. She had to thank him. Wasn't this the embodiment of the luminous martial battle? Two of her subordinates had been killed, and now she had to thank Yi Qinghan for creating such a good opportunity for her to hunt down the three overgods. Little did she know that Yi Qinghan only wanted them to suffer. He reclaimed the old mountains and rivers and discovered potential experts. He was preparing to fight against the two factions for a long time. The Mad Sect had built outer sects on various major planets. All the geniuses were recruited. The Mad Sect entered a period of rapid development. The inner sect's younger generation of more than 30 people became the Mad Sect's supervisors. They enforced justice on behalf of the heavens and controlled the laws of the endless star system. Yi Qinghan, Zixin, Dongqin, and the others went deep into the chaos to search for resources and treasures. Occasionally, they would venture into the chaos plane. At this time, the two factions were not in the mood to pay attention to the Mad Sect. Yi Qinghan and the others breathed a sigh of relief. After more than 3 years of exploration, Yi Qinghan gradually drew a star map near the endless star system. He found that the Juyo land was actually in the chaos plane, but it was an independent space. Although the people from both factions had no intention of dealing with the insane faction, they were still capable of punishing the insane faction. It was difficult for the insane faction to obtain good resources from the chaos dimension. They could not even buy divine tier elixirs, let alone overgod tier resources. Yi Qinghan's mind became active. Since the Mad Sect could not buy it, then he would support an agent in the chaos plane and build a puppet sect. He would use it as a bridge for the Mad Sect to integrate into the chaos plane. However, things were not that simple. The people from the two factions were not fools. It was impossible for them not to know that the Mad Sect was supporting a puppet sect. Therefore, they had to control the sect through the Juyo land. Great Sovereign Shura was the most suitable candidate in Yi Qinghan's mind. Therefore, Yi Qinghan brought some resources to visit the 9 Remoteness Master. When he found that the 9 Remoteness Master was still angry with him, he had to put down his pride. He smiled and said, "Master, how have you been these years?" The 9 Remoteness Master raised his eyebrows and glared at Yi Qinghan. He said, "Who are you? When did I have a disciple like you?" "Master, you are a magnanimous person. How could you lower yourself to my level?" Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. "Don't try to worm your way into being friends with this old man. If you have something to say, say it." The 9 Remoteness Master looked at Yi Qinghan with disdain. He knew that Yi Qinghan must have something to ask of him. Otherwise, he would not have come to the Juyo land to be bullied. Yi Qinghan grinned and said, "Master knows me best. The Mad Sect is in trouble and wants to open a path to the chaos plane through the Juyo land. Therefore, I would like to ask Senior Brother Shura for help to build a sect in the Tanlang territory. My mad sect will support it from behind. We will expand and develop it into a top force. The resources we get will be split 20 to 80. You don't have to do anything and can enjoy 20% of the profits. Chapter 948. When 9 Remoteness Master heard Yi Qinghan's suggestion, he raised his eyebrows and snorted. What do you mean I don't have to do anything and I'll get 20% of the profits? If I help you open the path to the chaos plane, won't I bear the risk of falling out with the 2 camps? 50-50, no less. Master, listen to what you're saying. If we really fall out, you won't need to be at the front. I'll definitely be the one at the front. I won't let you go against the 2 camps. I'm a filial disciple, so I'll give you another 10% of the resources. 30-70. After all, I have a big family and many geniuses need cultivation and resources. Don't cut off my way out, Yi Qinghan said solemnly. 30-70 is not a problem. Give me a magic art. Any kind of magic art will do, as long as it's a powerful one from the Chaos era, 9 Remoteness Master said immediately. Among the powerful magic arts from the Chaos era, Yi Qinghan did not know any of them except for the ones he inherited from Emperor Yi. If he had not extorted the Sun and Moon combat physique's natal magic art, the crazy sect would not have had any resources. However, one magic art was enough. The crazy sect would not differentiate between the magic arts so clearly. Of course, this was limited to the group of people in the inner sect. 9 Remoteness Master was not an outsider. Yi Qinghan said straightforwardly, no problem. The crazy sect only has one magic art. It's the natal magic art of the Sun and Moon combat physique, the sword rainbow-piercing Sun and Moon. I'm here to give it to you. How could I not think of you when I have something good? Yi Qinghan's righteous look made 9 Remoteness Master blush. He was very touched, but he did not know that Yi Qinghan did not want to give it to 9 Remoteness Master for free. Instead, he was prepared to use it in exchange for 9 Remoteness Master's help. Ahem, it seems that I've misunderstood you. I didn't expect you to still remember me. My love for you back then was not in vain. 9 Remoteness Master coughed dryly. Yi Qinghan grinned and took out a jade slip. Recorded on it was the detailed cultivation method of the sword rainbow-piercing Sun and Moon divine art. It was no secret that all the sword Dao experts in the inner sect were cultivating it. The 9 Serenities Lord lacked divine power arts, and the great divine powers were in the hands of the 2 major camps and some powerful sections. He could not compete for them, so he could only rely on Yi Qinghan now. Therefore, he accepted them without hesitation. You and Shura can discuss the rest of the matter yourselves. Don't look for me if there's nothing important. 9 Remoteness Master took the jade slip and returned to his god palace. Yi Qinghan arrived at Grand Venerable Shura's territory. Now that he was a half-step lord and had consolidated his physical body, he could enter and leave Abyss freely. Grand Monarch Azura's confidence had multiplied. His current strength was incomparable to half a year ago. In the case of time acceleration, it was equivalent to 10 years of hard cultivation. During these 10 years, he had fought dozens of people from the eccentric sect's inner sect to hone himself. His cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. At the same level, he might not be able to defeat Gu Qingyu even after fighting for an hour. Don't worry, junior brother. I promise I'll get this done beautifully for you, Grand Monarch Azura said as he patted his chest. Later, Great Master Azura led the Azura squad into the 9 nether plane from the Endless Star System. Then, they sneaked into the chaotic world from the 9 nether plane. They traveled at night and rested during the day. They quietly entered the Voracious Wolf Plain, occupied a large mountain range, and began to build a sect. Grand Monarch Azura personally went to the eastern mountain ridge and looked for Xiao Xingyang. Xiao Xingyang contacted the frenzied sword cannon monarch. They were both local forces and top-notch half-step lord-level powerhouses. They were very prestigious. A day later, the Voracious Wolf territory spread the news that the Azura sect, an ancient sect from millions of years ago, had risen from the ashes. They described the Azura sect in detail. One person spread the news to 10 people, and 10 people spread it to 100 people. After a day, the news had spread all over the Voracious Wolf territory. After that, the mythological territory, Qinghe territory, and more than a dozen small territories in the vicinity began to talk about the Asura sect. It was as if their sects had really crossed paths with the Asura sect. It was true that 3 men made a tiger. This saying was applicable in any era. No matter what level a person's cultivation was at, they would follow the rumors. Yi Qinghan had long grasped the hearts of the people. Through some connections, he had extended the history of the Asura sect to millions of years ago. Even if the 2 camps investigated, they would not be able to find out that the Asura sect was just a small sect that he had just founded. The Asura battle suit was very simple and unadorned. It was obvious that it had a lot of history. An ancient sect emerged from the mountain range overnight and forcefully occupied half of the voracious wolf territory. The next day, the Shao clan of the eastern mountain ridge announced that they would submit to the Asura sect. On the 3rd day, the frenzied sword cannon monarch led his teammates and announced that they would submit to the Asura sect. The Asura sect's reputation soared. Their powerful formation made people believe that they were real. They killed people without batting an eye. Not only were they vicious, but they also annihilated sects and clans. However, those who were observant could see that the people they killed were all notorious forces. Those who could be slightly improved were basically suppressed and persuaded to surrender. On the 8th day, the Asura sect occupied the entire voracious wolf territory and changed its name to the Asura territory. On the 10th day, Grand Sovereign Asura led his team into the myth domain and assassinated the 10 past lords of the Violent Dragon Empire, forcefully annexing the Violent Dragon Empire. The Violent Dragon sect was furious and demanded that the Asura sect withdraw from the myth domain. The atmosphere was tense and tense. In fact, all of this was just a show directed and acted by Yi Qinghan. Those past lords who were assassinated were his own people. He did not kill them at all. Instead, he replaced them with some people. The real past lords had already changed their faces and continued to be loyal to the Asura sect, helping them guard the various passes. Xian Yanxue and Shui Er were hiding in the Violent Dragon sect of the Violent Dragon sect, waiting for Grand Sovereign Asura's arrival. Everything was proceeding according to Yi Qinghan's plan. The rapid expansion of the Asura sect alarmed the 2 factions. When the Asura sect annexed the Clear River territory and 3 smaller territories nearby, they already had 300,000 outer disciples. Although their equipment was similar to the Asura battle teams, the quality was much worse. Their combat strength was also much worse. However, their quality was extraordinary and their sect rules were strict. The impact was very strong, and it attracted the experts of the 2 factions to come and persuade them to surrender. At this time, the Asura sect might seem powerful, but in reality, in the eyes of the 2 factions, it was still a dispensable cannon fodder. Yi Qinghan wouldn't choose to take a stand at this time. Xian Yanxue was as smart as a ghost. She didn't even need Yi Qinghan to say anything. She had Grand Sovereign Asura use words to fool the 2 factions. On the surface, the Asura sect submitted to the 2 factions, but in reality, they wouldn't listen to anyone. Half a month after the Asura sect's eruption, they began to encounter some true experts. Yi Qinghan wore the Asura battle armor, wore the Asura mask, and wielded the Asura saber. He silently entered the Asura territory, which was also the Greedy Wolf territory. His equipment was exactly the same as Grand Sovereign Asura's. Yi Qinghan had disguised himself as Grand Sovereign Asura. His physique was almost exactly the same, from the saber to the clothes. Now that the 2 of them stood together, let alone outsiders, even the members of the Asura battle team couldn't tell them apart. I will help you establish your might. From now on, your name is Asura King. The sects and experts I kill will all be named Asura King. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Chapter 950. Yi Qinghan's arrival was quiet. Even the frenzied sword cannon king and Xian Yanxue did not know about it. The only one who knew the truth was Grand Sovereign Shura. Grand Sovereign Shura was still expanding his territory and recruiting Shura sect. All the swordsman geniuses were recruited, but they were not qualified to cultivate the complete Shura soul-seeking saber technique. There were a total of 36 forms in the technique, and there were 12 basic forms. The outer disciples cultivated the 12 basic forms. If they wanted to cultivate the 24 or 36 forms, they had to make contributions and exchange them with contribution points. Of course, contribution points were exchanged through merits and treasures. 10,000 contribution points could allow them to learn one more form, which stimulated the fighting spirit of the outer disciples. Everyone wanted to join the Shura inner sect and cultivate the complete Shura soul-seeking saber technique. They could also join the Shura battle team and obtain a uniform saber, Shura armor, and Shura mask. It was an honor. At the same time, the Endless Star system was also recruiting swordsmen. However, it was the inner sect who actively sought them out. Once they found a genius swordsman, they would quietly bring him back to the Mad Sect to train. The frenzied Blade Cannon King joined the Azura squad and assumed the position of captain. Under his leadership, the surrounding dozen or so small regions were all subdued and unified, gradually forming a medium-sized region. However, as time passed, it was only a matter of time before they encountered an opponent. In less than a month, they encountered a powerful region that was inextricably linked to the Demon God Mountain. The Chaos God territory was considered a medium-sized territory. It was as large as the total territory that the Shura sect had recently occupied. There were 3 major holy sects that shared the territory. They were the Chaos God sect, the Lama sect, and the Thousand Tao sect. The 3 major holy sects were deeply rooted in the Chaos God territory. They suppressed each other and fought openly and covertly. However, when the territory was divided into 3, they were destined to be entangled. Neither side wanted to completely destroy the other. Whichever side was stronger, the other 2 sects would join forces to suppress the stronger sect. When faced with an external enemy, they would join forces. The 3 major holy sects all had lords, and the lords had cultivated lesser divinity skills. Although they were not as good as greater divinities, they were still much stronger than lords who had no foundation. The Azura battle squad had broken into the Chaos God territory. There were 101 half-step lords. Not only that, they had the same cultivation methods and equipment. Their attacks were unparalleled, and they had no problem killing lords when they joined forces. Yi Qinghan didn't have any control over the Chaos God realm at the moment. He could only wait passively. At the moment, he was guarding the center of the Chaos God realm, not far from the Azura battle team, in case the 2 camps retaliated and destroyed the Azura battle team. After the Azura sect annexed the Chaos God realm, they stopped expanding and reorganizing. They wouldn't be able to achieve anything in one go. They might even die from overeating. Now, they had to develop step by step to gain a firm foothold. The resources that the Azura sect occupied were handed over to the Azura sect for distribution. All of them were used to cultivate disciples and nurture the Azura battle team. For a time, many sword cultivator powerhouses appeared. Many people were watching the reactions of the 2 camps. As soon as the Azura sect gained a firm foothold, they would immediately join and become a member of the Azura battle team. The Azura inner sect was mobile because there were only 101 members. Wherever they were, that was where the inner sect was. There was an Azura outer sect in every region that was desperately trying to expand the team. As soon as a talent appeared, they would immediately be taken away to train. The Azura sect's expansion speed was far beyond everyone's imagination. Back then, the 2 camps had only sent a second-rate half-step lord to persuade the Azura sect to surrender. Now, they had sent an older powerhouse with combat constitution and direct bloodline of the Sorcerer clan elder to suppress the Azura sect. Their attitudes had clearly changed. If the powerhouse with combat constitution and Sorcerer clan elders generation were severely injured, the 2 camps would truly see the Azura sect's position. By then, they would definitely not kill the Azura sect. Yi Qinghan had already seen through everything. Everything was going according to his plan. Now, the only thing he had to do was wait for the people from the 2 camps to arrive. As for the people from the unifying sect, Yi Qinghan did not care about them at all. If they dared to send anyone over, he would definitely kill them. As for the combat constitution, he did not want to kill him at the moment. He did not want to completely fall out with the 2 camps. On the second day after the destruction of the three major sects in the Chaos God territory, the Atlas Combat Constitution arrived with a spear. He was discovered by Yi Qinghan as soon as he stepped into the Chaos God territory, and the two of them engaged in a fierce battle. As Yi Qinghan was worried about exposing his identity, he completely erased all traces of his previous battle and used a brand new movement technique to fight the Atlas Combat Constitution. Although the Azura Soul-Seeking Saber technique was only an ordinary Lord-level saber technique, in Yi Qinghan's hands, it could still unleash the power of a lesser divine ability. It was not inferior to the Combat Constitution. After exchanging 3,000 blows, the Atlas Combat Constitution was no match for Yi Qinghan. He was slashed into the ground, then slashed dozens of times until he was a bloody mess. If Yi Qinghan had not shown mercy, the Atlas Combat Constitution would have been hacked to death long ago. In the end, the Atlas Combat Constitution fled in panic. The Azura King's reputation immediately soared. Another existence that surpassed the Combat Constitution had been born. He was another great legend after Li Feng and Gu Qingyu. Chapter 952. The news that the Atlas Combat Constitution had been severely injured spread like wildfire. Many people began to wonder if the Combat Constitution was really that invincible. Not only had he been defeated by the two top fighters of the Guangzhong sect, but this inexplicable person who had suddenly appeared out of nowhere was also able to force the Combat Constitution to flee. Atlas used to be invincible except for the supreme gods. No one could compare to it. But now it was so weak. In fact, Atlas couldn't be blamed. He was unlucky enough to meet Yi Qinghan. Now that the Great Path had been shattered and the sky had been destroyed, although the chaotic universe had reappeared, it would take a long time for the Great Path and the sky to be reestablished. The advantage of Atlas was almost gone. Even so, he could still defeat 99% of people. There was no doubt that Atlas was powerful. Yi Qinghan crippled Qing Tian and purposely let him go. Then, he came to a beautiful valley and sat cross-legged in front of a waterfall. Spiritual energy spread out along with the water vapor and blew against his face. His ink-black hair fluttered in the wind, and the vigorous face under the Azura mask revealed a trace of unswerving determination. For Yi Qinghan, it was easy to conquer, but he was only willing to protect a small area in the endless star system. He had poured all his feelings into that place. Too many heroes had died there. Countless ancestors had sacrificed their lives to protect that place. He couldn't bear to let others trample on that place. Emperor Shang, Great Emperor Pangolin, Great Emperor Su, Yi Qinghan still hadn't forgotten the tragic situation of Great Emperor Su protecting his territory. Great Emperor Pangolin would rather lose his body to protect the endless star system. If the endless star system is gone, what's the point of having a remnant? Those words echoed in Yi Qinghan's mind. They still made his blood boil. Protecting the endless star system was not only a responsibility, but also an obligation. No matter what, I have to protect the endless star system. No matter what happens in the future, don't provoke the Guangzhong. Yi Qinghan leaned against a rock and continuously picked up small rocks to throw into the stream. The clear stream water was so clear that one could see the bottom. The valley was filled with a myriad of colors and peach blossoms. When the wind blew, the peach blossoms fell and hit Yi Qinghan on the shoulder. Yi Qinghan did not cultivate. Instead, he spread out his divine sense in all directions, waiting for the arrival of his enemies. Suddenly, Yi Qinghan's brows twitched. He looked into the starry sky and saw a silhouette approaching from the north at an extremely fast speed. If he wanted to locate the Azura battle squad, he would have to pass by this place. Hence, he did not go forward to meet them. However, not long after, another figure rushed out from the west. The sorcerer tribe has sent the wrong person. Get lost. Go back and tell the sorcerer tribe that the Azura sect does not want much territory. The 300 small regions around here are all the territory of the Azura sect. Tell your people to leave immediately, or I will destroy them all. Wu Long and Bai Shaoxing frowned. Bai Shaoxing was able to hold it in, but Wu Long couldn't. Wherever he went, there would be people following him. Who would dare to go against his will? After being mocked by Yi Qinghan, Wulong was furious. He lost his mind and pulled out his sword to stab at Yi Qinghan. Bang! Poof! How could Yi Qinghan's speed be comparable to that of an old man who relied on his nephew? He lifted his leg and kicked Wulong's chest. It was as if Wulong was the one who bumped into him. But after that kick, Wulong's body was thrown back like a kite with a broken string. He spat out blood and bile. Before he landed on the ground, Yi Qinghan used his scabbard and slapped him on the face. He fell to the ground and mud splattered everywhere. However, it did not destroy the elegant illusion in the valley. Wulong screamed. A few of his teeth were broken by the scabbard. His front teeth were also broken. What was worse was that his right cheek was swollen like a few protruding protrusions. The red mark was shocking. How dare you hit a tiger? My nephew is Wu Yan. Wulong roared angrily. He mentioned his nephew again. However, his teeth were leaking and he could not even speak clearly. Bai Shaoxing was originally in a bad mood. Now, he was amused by Wulong's expression. With it, he leaned against a huge rock and laughed. You're not a tiger. At most, you're a sick cat. Don't use Wu Yan to scare me. Scram. Yi Qinghan's murderous aura filled the valley. A large number of peach blossoms fell and danced in the wind. It was a unique scene. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.